Hey guys, how's it going? Today is another Netflix review, and the show that I've picked today is 3%. This is a Brazilian show. The country of origin is Brazil, and the original language is Brazilian Portuguese. The English dub is also available, but I would recommend watching it on the original audio with English subtitles because that way you can get every single intonations and every character's original voice in its entirety. But if you have a problem catching up with subtitles, sure, go ahead, go for the dubs. That's not a problem. Now, the show is my absolute favorite despite being of a genre that I usually don't engage with. Now, the genre of the show is dystopian and as well as science fiction. I usually don't indulge in this genre a lot because I find dystopian genre to be very full of despair and pessimistic, and I am an optimistic person, so I do not enjoy it a lot. It kind of depresses me. But the plot of this show is so interesting and it's so thrilling that it's more than just a dystopian show. Now there are 8 episodes in each season, and they are about 40 minutes long, just your regular Netflix episode. The story I would say resembles Hunger Games a little bit, except that it's way better than Hunger Games. I mean, nothing against Hunger Games, I just think that this show took the same concept and just gave it so much, added so much to it. Of course, my opinion is based on the Hunger Games movies only. I haven't read the books, but this is what I felt when I watched Hunger Games, and then this show 3%. I think this show did it better. A quick synopsis would be there are two small colonies of people. One is where the majority of the people live, just like there were districts in Hunger Games. There is one mainland, inland. It's called inland, and there is majority of people live there, and there's a lot of poverty there, and it's in this middle of desert, so there's water is scarce, and other food and medicine, everything is scarce there. Everyone is just in survival mode all of the time, and to survive there you will have to struggle a lot, and everyone is extremely poor, of course, because there are no facilities. And once the citizens turn 20 years old, these people are eligible to take part in this competition, which is called the process. And the catch is that only 3% of the people who partake in this process will be able to go forward, and these people who will win this process will get to live in this place, and in this utopian place. It's an island called the offshore. Now this offshore is advanced in every possible way. They have the best medicines which heals people even more than even faster than we know right now. This is story is somewhat futuristic in that way. The technology is all very futuristic, so they have these best medical facilities. They have the greenery. There are lots of trees and lakes and animals. There is the best kind of food, the best quality of food. So these are all these facilities. So and only 3% of the winners of only 3% of the people will pass the process, and they will make it to the offshore. Now these people who live in the inland are raised in such a way to believe in the process that one day they have to take part in it, and it is such a big deal that like their whole purpose in life is to pass the process. That's all they ever think about, and they kind of, some people even kind of take it in a religious kind of way, like the offshore is some kind of heaven that you can gain from this taking part in these challenges. It's like a concept of heaven, and there is a church of the process, and there is a priest, and they praise all these people who live on the offshore, and especially the process leader. And the contrary to this, of course, if there is a such an organization, there is also an opposing force. It's called the cause. It's a group of people who are against this concept that only few people should get to live in such a privileged place. They think that everyone should be provided some sort of facilities and to live a better life. Everyone should be given these resources. Everyone should be given these resources that they have. They shouldn't just hog it all to a certain group of people. They want it to be distributed among the majority as well. And these people of the cause, they are dubbed a terrorist organization by everyone, because most of the people in the inland believe in the process. They think that it's right that only worthy people should get to live in this place, in this utopian place, because they are just brainwashed into thinking that the offshore controls the mentality of these people. They have full control of the inland. Now, there are a lot of characters in this show, a lot of amazing characters. I could not praise one character above the other. All of them are just so good. In the first season, we meet these characters who, at that moment in time, they are introduced to us as potential candidates of the process. The first season pretty much gives us an overview of the process. That's what the episodes cover mainly. These bunch of challenges, and even this process is so interesting. Like, on each level they are tested with these different kind of riddles, and these riddles are just so interesting. Like, you could not get, there are like rules. They are given certain rules, but even those rules are like a trick to get them to fail. So sometimes even not following the rules help you. And with each stage, they test certain qualities that they believe the resident of an offshore should have. So only people who have these qualities, which they determine whether or not this person has this quality or not through these tests. And the process leader also keeps an eye on this entire competition, and they keep deciding whether or not someone is eligible to go to the next round or not. So there are a lot of twists and turns in this when the process is taking place. And there are some people who sometimes infiltrate these processes as an undercover agent, as the candidate. And we have some people like that as well. And the whole story is just so many twists and turns. It will be hard to give an exact synopsis of it all, but basically that is the premise. There are some other characters who were initially just innocent candidates. They get wrapped up in this cause versus process battle, and certain sides were picked, and some people chose to stay with the cause because they thought that was just, and some people stayed with the process. They believed in that kind of theory. They believed in that theory of the process. And but that's not where it stops. The characters are not black and white. That's certain. No one is decided to be good or evil. They constantly change sides. You cannot figure out who is on whose side, and this makes up for a very interesting and thrilling experience. You cannot just take this is not that kind of show that you can just scroll your phone and just have it running in the back. You will have to pay active attention to it, because otherwise you will miss so many details from it that after a certain point you will just not be able to follow the story at all. So this makes up for a very interesting and thrilling experience to watch this show. Now, another thing I liked a lot about this, and I noticed this, is that the locations as well as the camera angles that were used. First of all, the location, there was this, the inland is situated in this desert, and this desert is the camera angles that were used to photograph this desert. It's so beautiful. The desert aesthetic I found pretty beautiful, and the costumes were also designed to match that kind of vibe, like this brownish and earthy vibes. And I noticed a lot of costumes in that, and I found them to be so beautiful. There, at some point, there is a bit of a steampunk vibe as well, I noticed in some places, especially in season 3 with Gloria. And in stark contrast to that, there was offshore, which was situated on an island which is surrounded by water. So you have these brown tones of the inland, and then in contrast to that you have these cool colors of the offshore. There's blue, and most people wear these clothes that resemble the whole vibe of the offshore, like these cool colors like blue, many shades of blue and silver. So the costume and this vibe, there is this stark contrast. There will be no mix up between the inland people and the offshore people. It's designed in such a way that you can notice immediately from where a person came from. So I thought that was really interesting. I really enjoyed the costumes and the locations used. I really enjoyed the way the contrast was shown between these two places, and these two places are also at war with each other. So it made sense that they were like the color schemes were like opposite of each other. Now there were a lot of diverse character. I am not going to list every single type of character there was, but all of these characters were very interesting and the diversity was very interesting. It makes up for a very interesting experience to follow these different types of characters, and their struggles were different with each other because of their backgrounds, and all of their arcs were worth following. I don't think any character there was whose arc was not interesting. Just like I said last week, in the society there was also everybody's arc was very interesting. In this show as well, every single character's arc is very interesting to follow, and there is no character where you would want to skip their side of the story. And I think that makes up for a very interesting watch, because there are many shows I watched where one or two characters were very interesting, and then a couple of characters whose arcs were just a snooze fest. Like when they come on screen and then it's like, I don't care about this. I just want to watch that particular character. Now in this show there was nothing like this. Every single character was very interesting. Every single character was had a very interesting story, and all of their pasts and all of their present just added more to the central story. Anyways guys, so that's it. That's my review of 3%. I would definitely recommend it. I have recommended it to a lot of people. Everyone I met, I recommended it to them, and I would say the same to you. Please do watch it. This show is amazing. You will not regret it. And that's it for this week. Please check out the featured artist, and if anything you want to say, put it in the comments below. And please check out the commission info. Commissions are open. If you want me to draw something for you, please message me on any of my social media. All my links are in the description. And please subscribe, because there will be more reviews of Netflix TV shows, movies, as well as books. And that's it. Bye.